Life Management Science Labs would like to acknowledge that we live and produce this podcast on the traditional lands of the Wurundjeri people. We'd also like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands of our listeners and our international colleagues. We'd like to thank and pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. Hello everyone and welcome to Work in Progress, the Personal Productivity Science Insights podcast produced by LMSL, the Life Management Science Labs. We are champions of life management science, providing structured insights informed by science and inspired by practice on key aspects of conscious living. Each week, we bring you scientific and practical insights on each element with the expert knowledge of professionals in the field. Let's get started.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Work in Progress. I'm Lu, and today I'm your guest host, and we have a very special guest in the studio. I think this is going to be very funny. This is one of the funniest episodes, I hope, and we'll learn something new.
Don't bring up the expectation too high.
No, it's not an expectation. It's going to be the way it goes. It'll have to be funny. Come on.
Okay, I'll try.
Yeah. So for our audience who's wondering what is going on, we're both from LMSL, and Jerry is actually our multimedia coordinator, who is behind the camera, I would say 80% of the time.
Gonna go 98% of the time. I'm never in front of the camera, really. This is the first time.
But like recently we have Aiden, so you're not in front of the camera. Okay. Like you're not behind the camera as much. And you're doing, cooler stuff. But
I'm behind the desk.
Behind this. Anyways, but it's very cool. And productivity-wise, it's pretty crazy for you, isn't it? Because you have so many things to juggle. You're behind the camera, you're doing the editing, you're coaching your team, coordinating your team, quality assurance for everything is done by you as well, basically. Yeah. So I think you're the perfect guest for this episode because today we're going to talk about optimizing your workday with time management. Yeah, totally. Look, an expert might have a lot of research, but you have all the hands-on experience.
You can say that, yeah.
Yeah. So I would say, for now, you're definitely the perfect guest until we find a better one.
Okay.
one with even more
it's a low
things,
bar.
more things to juggle. Hey, it's better to learn from experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so for those that don't know much about you, obviously I did the quick introduction about you and your role at LMSL, but maybe a little more about your journey, please.
Yeah, so I'm Jerry, and I am the Multimedia Coordinator at LMSL. And on this side, I do some freelance projects here and there in video. Those could be weddings, could be music videos, promo videos, whatever I get, really. And my journey, I think, I'm going to go deeper into this later, is that I think what helps with my productivity is developing it through being a wedding videographer. Because being a wedding videographer is really tough. You have to juggle a lot of things, a lot of personalities.
Really?
Well, think about it. Aunties, mom,
you got to tell us more about that.
Yeah. So, that's kind of my background. And I don't know if I can say much more. I think you covered the
Have you done a lot of weddings lately?
I haven't. I really basically when I had enough, I was like, I'm never gonna do weddings again because it was just too much, 16-hour days and stuff like that. And then
must be intense.
Just handling clients was too much. But every now and then it's it's good for a quick buck. Like if I'm planning to buy something, I'm like, there's a wedding.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Yeah. Which is where your productivity will really shine because, you have a full-time job. And then if you want to do something on the side, it's time management.
Yeah, it is.
So, today we're going to talk about time management at work. But I think for your case, it'll be extra interesting to share, time management in the context of doing work outside of work and then finding that balance in life. Because I think productivity is such a broad concept. Obviously, we are focusing on work, but we cannot forget that, all of that needs to fit into our life. So So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Before we do that, let's talk about you a bit more.
Okay.
I like to get recommendations from my guests. I mean, we talk all the time and probably have random chats here and there, but we don't really talk much about what you like. So today I'm going to find out more, get some recommendations. So this section is called Have You Met Jerry? You know the drill. I mean, you've done what, 200 podcasts by now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've released more than 200 episodes by this point. So you know the drill. I'm not going to explain it. Let's
What's
just
this
do
game?
it. Huh?
What's this game?
Yeah. What is it? I don't know. 200 episodes later. I really don't know. Okay. First thing first. What's a book you would recommend?
A book I'd recommend. There'd be two, I'd say. So one is The Children of Huron, which is a book within the Middle Earth series or world, Lord of the Rings. So it's set way before Lord of the Rings. It's super different from like all of the other Middle Earth books because it's all about tragedy, treachery, and mistakes. It feels very human. Also, the main character is just human, not an elf, not a dwarf. So like it hits home a little bit harder. Yeah.
Never heard of that before.
Yeah, it's more relatable, not in a way where like they're going around killing people, but the negative emotions and all the things that the main character goes through, those are very relatable.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
What's the second one?
Oh, the second one is I would recommend Atomic Habits.
Oh yes, that's perfect for this show.
Yeah, so I've read half of the book. Pretty big book. So
It is.
yeah, so I've read half of the book and it's really, really good so far. Reason why I haven't finished it really is because I jumped into another book called Kaizen, which is sort of the same. It's all about improving continuously day by day.
Yeah.
Small steps.
You're on the personal improvement train.
Yeah,
right now.
Pretty much. Yeah, I mean, always is, right?
Yeah. It's good. I mean, sometimes you get bored and you would find something that's more lighthearted to read, but then, most of the time, like, it's good to have that. I mean, I'm pretty sure most of the team members at LMSL do that, like have something for personal productivity on their bookshelf at all times or reading something. Anyways, that's a book. You gave us two. Good enough. One is fun and one is very serious. I would say it's a big read. Like, you have to read it multiple times, I would say. But really good. How about a movie? I know you're a movie fan.
Oh, it's hard for me to say.
You have so many.
So many. And I really don't have a favorite.
Yeah, me too. But what are some of your favorites then?
Okay, some of my favorites, School of Rock. That's one that I like watch every year.
Okay.
Like at least once.
Okay.
School of Rock, the Harry Potter stuff. It's just like I watch that every Christmas since I was a kid.
Oh, I love that.
And if I were to recommend like a really like critically review the movie, it would be Children of Men. And it's like post-apocalyptic, and it's just really good. It's like it shows. I like movies where it shows you what do people do when society is like not in like you're not shackled by societal standards and government and all that. Those kind of things. Like what do we actually do? Like as humans, what are our behaviors if these things don't exist? Yeah. So it's very interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. And well, let's ask on our show, what is a podcast that you like?
Right. Well, the
Gio, what is your 10?
I got 10.
You got 10.
Don't really have a favorite podcast, but right now I am listening to the Lex Friedman podcast a lot.
I don't even know what that is.
He's a computer scientist and artificial intelligence researcher. And his podcast is very interesting because he's got access to like very reputable people.
Yeah.
And I like him because the way he thinks is very different. he knows like really deep questions to ask, and it's also funny because he likes to read poems during the podcast. He's like very he's not like an out there kind of person.
He sounds like a personality.
He's not really like a big personality per se. He is a personality.
He sounds like a personality to me.
Some people might find him quite dull, but he's kind of special in that way. He's like he's a bit like a robot kind of guy.
A robot that reads poems.
Yeah, it's like see that's the thing, right? Like when you watch his podcast or watch any video of him, he's very monotonous. Like his voice, the way he speaks. But he likes all these kind of things. Like he does jujitsu and likes poems, and he plays the guitar. All these kind of things. Like
wow,
such a unique personality, and the way he thinks is just like super out of the box.
Right.
Yeah,
that's so interesting. I like out of the box thinking people. I gotta check them out. Okay. Do you have a famous role model?
My famous role model would be Kobe Bryant.
Oh, Kobe.
Yeah.
I miss you.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Just because like when I was a kid watching him, and like it really came at a perfect time when he started becoming more of a speaker in motivational stuff and reaching your goals and working towards your goals.
Yeah.
Because he did those things. He put more emphasis on those and storytelling.
Yeah. Towards
the end of my high school years, and in between like my adulthood and teenage years. So very big impact on me. Just love his work ethic and the way he speaks. Very motivational.
Yeah. Totally. We all adore Kobe.
Mm.
Last question on this part. You know what it is? Is there a course you completed that you would like to talk about at all?
Course? It would be my bachelor's. That was the last course. Film.
Yeah. And you enjoyed it?
I enjoyed it, yeah. It was a slugfest during the pandemic years. But for the most part, it's a fun course because like you get to do practical things and apply your learnings from you apply your learnings to actual productions. So like we did the Fringe Festival, the Melbourne Fringe Festival during my last year, and I did some camera work for some performances and stuff like that. So
fun.
Yeah, it's cool to like do that. And obviously, as a film student, you film something as a project.
Yeah.
Because I don't like sitting and writing essays all day long.
Yeah, no, I did that. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fun. That sounds so different from what I did, because I did project management, right? And I never got to manage any project in 2 years.
Manage yourself?
I did. But practically speaking, I wasn't allowed to manage any project. I mean, there were group projects, but not the same as actual work, right? So, yeah, it was interesting.
But you can apply it to life, right?
Absolutely. You can. And I think that was when I really managed my life better, because now that I do it as a profession, I get fatigued and tired. I just don't do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, exposing myself. But okay, we now have known Jerry a bit better. I got some fun recommendations. Thanks for sharing.
No worries.
I cannot believe we don't talk about this stuff more at work. So maybe we can use the same prompt to ask our colleagues. Just for anyone on our team that's watching, we're going to ask you these questions.
That's true.
Because we want to get to know more about you. Okay, so let's talk about optimizing our workday. And as I said before, you have a lot of things you're juggling. And also because you've recorded 200 podcasts and released over 200 podcasts, including about 20 episodes of this one. You got to understand personal productivity somehow to a certain extent that our audience is probably not familiar with if they don't watch this podcast every single time. So how would you define personal productivity given what you know and what you've experienced?
All right. So pretty simple for me is just getting things done as efficiently as possible. It's to me, it's not really as much as doing as many things as you can as possible during the day, but efficiency while having quality as considering quality.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's productive if you do 200 things a day but do all of them incorrectly or produce low quality outputs.
That's true.
It's not productive.
Yeah, so true. I think getting something done just for the sake of doing it is like, oh, you get it out of the way, but you don't really feel proud of yourself.
Yeah.
So I really like that definition. Quality, balancing quality and quantity. Okay, so you've also done a bunch of listening to our guest, and I'm sure you notice a bunch of things that our team does or other people do.
Yeah.
What do people get wrong when it comes to personal productivity?
I think it's that doing as many things as humanly possible every day, pretty much killing yourself to do so many things, but then at the end of the day, your outputs are low quality. That's not productive, because then that time of fixing those things could have gone into doing it well the first time.
Yeah, I'm laughing because I'm thinking about something right now.
What is it?
I don't want to say it.
You can tell me later.
Yeah, I'll tell you later. But I'm thinking about something interesting that I can relate to. So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the quality side of thing more, but
and I think to add to that as well. I know there's a question about this later. Killing yourself to do something today, and your output might be good, right?
Yeah.
And you might think it was a productive day.
Yeah.
But that affects tomorrow.
Exactly.
So that's not productive.
Yes. So true. Love that.
Yeah.
I think it's a message for everyone, actually, like to anyone and everyone listening, and also especially to our team who works a lot when it's not really necessary because they really care. I mean, I love it when people care about the work.
Yeah.
But you got to put yourself first.
We have a caring team.
We do.
People care about their work.
Yeah, they really care about their work. And sometimes that's the
to a
issue.
fault.
Yeah, because they care too much about the work, and sometimes they prioritize that. And I think it's easy to get sucked into, oh, I really need to deliver this right now, or, I need to make sure everything is perfect, or at least it seems perfect on the outside. And then in reality, it's just going to affect you, and then it affects other colleagues. So it's a vicious cycle if you get into that. I totally agree.
And also, by the way, I'm not perfect.
No one is.
I say these things, but I don't do them perfectly all the time. Yeah. I try my best to just do practice what I preach, but sometimes I crack and fall into a very,
We do our best.
Yeah,
we do our best. Yeah. Like I was like, because I was the same, right? I was like, this year I'm not going to work more than 8 hours a day. Guess what?
Yeah.
No, it hasn't been happening at all. And that's okay. But I think that point that you made earlier was really right. And just, it's kind of stuck here with me, because if I'm doing a lot of hours, let's say, and then everything is kind of like, in terms of quality, I'd rather just do fewer things and have them done in a good way, and then move on and do the things that I was trying to do earlier. Yeah. So then everything gets done, everything has good quality, rather than everything gets done, but nothing is actually done.
Yeah.
So
because you have to go back to it. You don't feel accomplished as well. Like you don't have that satisfaction that you need to continue.
Yeah, exactly.
So you might just actually be demoralized after that.
Yeah. One thing at a time is always better, to be honest.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of distractions nowadays, which is why we're talking about time management, right? Because time management works in both our professional life and personal life.
It does.
I don't know how you do it, and I don't know how other people do it. I have my own way of doing it, and I'm guessing each person has their own definition. I found a scientific definition that I can throw in a little bit later, but how do you define it?
Time management to me is all about prioritizing, really, because you only have so many hours during the day. Say you have an 8-hour working day, and let's say you've got 200 tasks. That's impossible. What you can do is do your best to get as many things done, and like I said, do them well. So to me, it's not exactly about, it's quite similar to the definition of productivity. It's not really about, it's not about shoving things in your basket, as many things in your basket as you can. It's whatever fits. And you do your best to allocate time to each of them as needed.
Yeah. That's pretty close. So the scientific definition that I found, and this is like, again, sounds very scientific, but
I like it.
It's referring to the process of planning, organizing, and allocating time effectively to accomplish tasks and goals efficiently.
Yeah. It's all about efficiency.
Yeah, so that's pretty close what you were saying. So it's kind of like, this is a scientific way of putting it into words. And the other thing that I like is it involves understanding how time is spent, prioritizing activities, setting goals and deadlines, and implementing strategies to optimize productivity and reduce wasted time. So we're going to talk about all of this stuff in a little bit. And I like that you shared your own definition. It's kind of like, it's close to what science has in mind or research has in mind. So we are talking about personal productivity. We're saying a bunch of things about, not only doing a lot of things or trying to do as many things as possible, but also bringing in the quality of it. And a big factor of that is actually how to manage your time, because if you don't plan, there's nothing that's going to get done, right? And you know this all too well. So how does time management affect your personal productivity?
There are two ways. One is, I plan my day in a way where everything has its time. So actually, you gave me good advice a few weeks ago where you told me, okay, if everyone wants to talk to you throughout the day, tell them this is the time that they can talk to you, and everyone can talk to you during that time.
Wow.
and that was one thing that was kind of like a blocker to everything. It was also a blocker to getting into the flow state.
Yeah.
And I'll dive into that a little bit more later, the flow state thing. But like, I plan my day where I do the same task back to back for a certain amount of time. So if I'm editing stuff and there's like 3 things to edit today, I'll do those things back to back to back.
Yep.
So it doesn't break my flow state. And then all the chatting and servicing for people, essentially that's what it really is.
Yeah,
like,
servicing,
people need something from you.
Yeah.
I do that at a certain amount at a certain time.
Yeah.
So doing that as a way to manage my time affects my productivity, because then it doesn't break my flow state. So that's one activity that I can give an example to. How does time management affect productivity? Well, it's really, if you think about it, if you don't manage your time, you don't really get things done. So, I don't really have a good explanation, but that's my experience. If you don't manage your time well, if you don't allocate time for each thing, most likely you're going to be left scrambling around throughout the day. You're going to be like, oh, what do I need to do now? What do I need to do now?
Yeah.
So you really need to set and plan what you need to do today, tomorrow, and the next day, and at what time. It doesn't have to be super strict.
Yeah.
But you need to have an idea of like, what's your order of task.
Yeah.
This time I'm going to do editing. This time I'm going to do admin. This time I'm going to do some coaching. This time I'm going to check on my teammates.
Yeah. That's really good, because I think that is kind of one of the things, like one of the top tips in productivity, because I'm a productivity nerd. I watch a lot of nerds. I watch a lot of videos on productivity, and I read a lot on productivity. And also I watch this show, listening to our guest. But one of the things that I really like, and this is where I started out with my productivity journey, is time blocking. And that's exactly what you say you're doing, because you're blocking time and you're kind of time boxing it as well. So like, from this time to this time, I'm doing this. And then once I'm done, I'm going to move to the next thing. Now, there are actually a few more tips that I found from science, from scientific research, and also from a bunch of other people that have done, wonderful things in their productivity. Like Ali Abdaal is one of those people.
Yeah.
If anyone's not familiar with him, like
Yeah.
he's crazy
Love him.
in terms of productivity.
Yeah.
Like it's insane. Really love it. So let's talk about juggling different priorities, because you were just talking about that. You touched on it briefly. And you did say that, you're allocating time to, for example, if you're going to coach people, you're going to allocate time to coach them rather than, doing it here and there, right? And then you do editing, the deep work, focus, flow state, all that sort of stuff. Now, one of the concepts in scientific research when it comes to productivity is actually managing your energy. I'm not sure if you've heard about this before, but basically you manage the task based on energy. For example, in the morning, you're not a morning person. Let's say, pretend you're not a morning person. So in the morning, you do really like low energy tasks, very admin focused. Like you just like type the same thing, or you know exactly what you need to edit, so you just do the same thing. On the other hand, if you're actually a morning person and you have peak energy in the morning, you're gonna do really hard tasks. Like like those files that we have to do, like the Excel sheets we have to fill out and all that sort of stuff. The tough things, when you're a morning person, you do them first because you have a lot of energy then. Yeah. You have a lot of focus. And then in the afternoon when you're a little tired and fatigued, you can still do the other tasks because you know exactly what to do. Then you just like smash it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there was a study, I think I was looking for these studies when I was in high school because I didn't like high school. Because, high school, it starts at 8 or 9, right?
Yeah.
And there was like a study that came out that people learn more efficiently if you start at 12 or something like that.
12 p.m.?
Yeah, like your brain kickstarts around that time.
Really?
It could be 11, 10, but it wasn't like 8 or 9. So it was a good excuse for me to believe, oh yeah, that's true. I don't know if that study still stands, and I've forgotten who that study was from, and I don't know exactly what time, but it said it's a little bit later than 9 a.m. or 8 a.m.
Yeah,
because like society, we do it 8 a.m., 9 a.m. whatever we do.
Yeah,
and there was like this study. It says your brain functions better at a later time.
I think it depends. Like, I don't really know where the research is right now. So, that's an open question, and we'll probably have to do more research on that. But it's interesting because I feel like each person is different.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. I think it depends on like what sleep timings you subscribe to.
Exactly.
Like if you're, one of those types that wake up at 5 a.m., which I know you are. I know you do.
No, I wake up at 6.
Okay, 6. If you're like one of those people that say wake up at 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Then obviously, you've had more time to warm up.
Yeah.
During the morning. So it could be that. I don't know. I don't think your brain really works in a way. Oh,
it's
well,
not like
maybe
a clock for everyone. I don't feel like it's like exactly this time.
Maybe it does.
Everyone's lighting up because
I think I've heard like a research of like how the sun, where the sun is, and like evolutionarily.
Yeah.
If it's morning,
that makes sense.
Like this whole night owl thing. I just listened to a podcast about this, and night owls, please don't hate me. Watch the podcast. It was a podcast by Andrew Huberman and Dr. Gina, basically a sleep researcher who says night owls don't really exist, or not really, because of your sleep patterns and the quality of sleep that you get. So it could be a clock. It could be a clock just because of evolution.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure because I don't do a lot of reading into this particular area of like when, like what time it's peak. To me, it's kind of like, it's got to work for me, right? Like, so I'm a morning person. So like if I need to do something that's like really heavy focus, I'll smash it out in the morning. But unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Because if I need to do a really important task and that needs collaboration with others, I can do my thinking in the morning, but I still need to collaborate with them in the afternoon, for example, when they're online later, because we have a virtual team.
Yeah.
So I think managing energy really helps here because you can sort of like allocate time for it. And I know you're in the same situation on the same boat because, you know, we have the same team.
Yeah.
So that's why I want to ask you how you juggle it, especially because, you know, we have a lot of different projects and priorities. And I know a lot of people struggle with this too. We are a startup. A lot of people out there are working in like small, medium businesses, startups, or even big corporates have multiple priorities or projects sometimes that they kind of need to bounce from one to another. So how do you juggle that?
So sometimes, almost most of the time, it's a first come first serve basis for me, really.
Okay.
Because with my team, I do what the main function of my team is, right? That's main priority. That's always high priority. Podcasts, courses, and all those things. Those are main priority, right? So other requests from like other teams, that's kind of like medium priority. Obviously, they're important because they need us.
Yes.
And they're very important content to create. But I always request from people, if you need something from me, please tell me before, like a lot earlier than your due date.
Yeah.
Like if you ask something from me today and then you need it tomorrow, it's a little bit hard for me to deliver that because we've got our task.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's even possible for me to find a way to slot it into to our calendar. Sometimes it's possible because, you know, maybe our deliverables are not super the deadline's not near, so it's possible.
Yeah.
But that's how I prioritize things is whatever your main function is, that's priority. Unless, obviously, if your superior says, I need this now. Like sometimes
you're telling me. You're talking about me.
sometimes you ask me, I need this now, Jerry. I'm like, okay, fine.
It's me. Hi. The problem is me.
So like the techniques that I talked about earlier, like blocking your tasks, it won't always work because sometimes things just happen. Things, you know, are requested abruptly.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And another one is just being able to say no.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because as much as I'd like to help everyone, if they say, I really need this, I'm like, but I really need to get my thing done as well.
Yeah.
So being able to say no, telling people no, is something that I had to learn the hard way. Because there was a time where I just said yes to everything.
Yeah, that was me too.
I was killing myself. And it didn't help me feel any good, or it just didn't help. It probably helped people that I helped, right?
Yeah, it didn't help you.
But it didn't help me. So and also it was a blocker because in the future I wasn't able to help the people that I wanted to help because I was just so drained out. And I took up all of my energy and I just couldn't help other people. So it didn't help. It helped the people that I helped at the time, but didn't help me or other people in the future.
Yeah. I think the thing about projects and priorities would be like it depends on the environment. Because you know, in the startup world, it's kind of like 9 times out of 10, it's like we need this yesterday.
Yeah.
So you think of it today and you're like, oh, actually we need this yesterday. That's just like the nature of startup, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's really important to kind of have the buffer time and, you know, to know if the deadline can be flexible. Like you were saying earlier, like
try to negotiate
project,
all the time.
Yeah, but like some projects are not that urgent.
Yeah.
Like and also if you do things in advance, right? Like if let's just say I don't know if you do this, but let's say I have 10 different tasks for podcast due on Friday. And today is Monday. And I kind of don't have anything urgent right now. I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
Get that out of the way, get it done, and then do other tasks. So then if something comes up, I actually have the extra time.
Yeah.
sometimes it doesn't work like that. Sometimes it's the reverse because you have so many things to do that you kind of like you're running towards that.
Yeah.
So it depends on the week itself. But I feel like if we do things in advance when we have the time or when we feel like, oh, we don't have anything to do, that's one thing. But also understanding which one is more important. Because you were saying, right, some priorities from other teams are kind of medium priorities.
Yeah.
But then when you actually confirm with upper management, it's like top priority.
I mean, for upper management, everything's top priority.
Yeah, but then when you don't confirm, right?
Yeah.
What I'm saying is when you don't really confirm it with other people, it's kind of like, oh, I'm just going to do my stuff.
Yeah.
And then other people's stuff, that's secondary.
Yeah.
But then sometimes it comes from the top. So then that becomes top priority.
Yeah. Also, you have to make it clear to the people that need something from you that you need to help me help you, really. Exactly. If you want me to help, if you help me help you, we'll get this done very easily.
Exactly. It's a collaboration effort. Yeah.
Like I said, ask for things early. Don't ask for things last minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're talking about a lot of like juggling. One of the things we also have to struggle and juggle with is this environment. So the remote work environment, and our team, most of our team are remote. I know a lot of other teams at the moment are remote as well. So people might be struggling with this. You have a lot of messages all the time. People ask for things from you all the time. And then I don't know about other companies, but for us, for example, we use both Slack and Teams.
Yeah.
So it's basically like messages pinging on from both sides.
Yeah.
And then we use Asana to track tasks and everything. So it's kind of like you have all these notifications from Asana. At the same time, you're trying to do your task.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of distractions. You have a lot of things that kind of like trying to pull your focus and, you know, get you into different directions. Team members might be trying to call you, for example. I don't know if that happens. It doesn't happen very often, but sometimes you get random calls, right? So lots of distractions. So question is, you have a lot of priorities and people to deal with. So I'm guessing you have a lot of distractions. How do you handle them?
So I think the first thing that really helped was very early on our team was we made it clear to everyone, look, if people are not answering your messages, it's not because they don't want to answer. They're just busy.
Yeah.
So getting that across from the start very clearly is a good thing because people don't have any negative feelings if you don't answer or whatever. Now, in saying that, I do that, right? Like, I will get the messages. I'm going to ignore it. Let's say I'm in the zone and I'm in the flow.
Yeah, with the flow state, yeah.
I'm in the flow state. I love it because it really makes me work a lot faster. It makes me feel like I'm like a superhuman when I'm in flow state, really.
Yeah.
And I really hate breaking it because it takes me longer to get back into it than just getting whatever I need done.
Yeah.
So I ignore messages a lot.
Which is good.
Now I do have a kind of like a priority level. If someone needs something from me, like now, like my team members, if they need something from me, like they can't finish their work, they can't continue with their work unless I give them the go. Like sometimes people like Aiden, he will ask me, can I do this? And I will say yes or no, right? Or I will suggest a different thing.
Yeah.
If I make him wait, then he's wasting his time because he can't do anything.
Exactly.
Right? So those kind of messages, it's good because like you can see the messages, like a little bit of the message, so you can tell if it's important or not from the notification because you can kind of see the first line.
Yeah.
So I prioritize things that way. Is just like whoever needs something like right now, and I feel like they can't finish their work unless I say something to them, then I just have to reply.
Yeah.
If not, if it's something that could wait an hour or two, then I'm gonna let it wait.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if I break my flow state and if I keep getting interrupted, then I'm not gonna get anything done.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
So blocking and also blocking that time to tell people like this is when I'm ready for questions.
Yeah. I think it's a really hard concept for some people to understand because sometimes people just want answers like pronto.
Yeah.
I sometimes respond straight away if I'm checking messages. Sometimes it takes me 3 hours.
Yeah. And the good thing with Slack, what we use is that you can tell people you've got like a status thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You can
Just
tell
put it
people, don't disturb me.
Yeah, like I would normally put it on, and I think you do too. Like just focus time, slow in responding.
Yeah.
Or like focus time won't respond until X hours. So I think that's really good because then it lets other people know, and it allows us that peace of mind that people know. So it's not like you have to go around, talking about it. And I think one of the other things as well is it depends on the company culture.
Yeah.
I think for us, we're working towards it and like getting there in terms of allowing people to have deep work and not just calling randomly.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the biggest distractions that's going to eat away your time. Let's say you are already in the flow state. You're in the middle of it. You're getting things done. You're really quick. All of a sudden, I call you.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to have to try and get back to that after the call. So then it takes you twice as long to actually finish the task, even if it's just a 2-minute phone call.
Yeah. I have to say that I do call my team quite a lot. But also maybe it's because of the nature of our work.
Yeah, depending on what you're doing. I
think I told someone this a few days ago. It's with video editing especially, you need to share screen. Like you have to share screen. It's so much easier if the other person can see what you're doing, or you can see what they're doing. Because if you try and explain it with words alone, there's so many miscommunications that could happen.
I'm painting this. Did you see it?
So it depends on the nature of your work. And also that whole status thing, if sometimes people are a little bit naughty and you can kind of tell who doesn't really care, like they just want answers all the time. What I do is if they had a question, I'm going to schedule my reply.
Yeah.
So that for like the next 2 hours, I don't get any interruption from it, because it's going to open a can of worms, right?
Exactly.
If you can tell that it's going to open a big conversation,
I'm
going to schedule my reply. So that's another thing I do.
Yeah, exactly. Utilize all the different tools you have and like the different functionalities. It's such an interesting topic. We were like, oh, we don't know if we're going to have anything to say. So much to say. Okay. So you said earlier that you have already mentioned you are managing all these interruptions, and you also need to balance when you respond. And one of the questions was around how do you handle the interruptions? I think we've covered that. But one part we haven't got to cover is if colleagues are requesting for your time, and especially superiors might request for your time as well. I'm included in this bunch. I'm curious, how do you respond to the request or, handle the request while you're still maintaining your productivity? Because it's one thing to minimize the distractions from other people. It's a whole different thing to like get things dumped on you. Like, I allocate you this task, or I allocate you this project, or, we need to work on this file or this brainstorming session. How do you juggle that?
So I can't really give a general solution for everyone because like you alluded to earlier, it depends on your work culture.
Yeah.
Like for us here, I'm very thankful that like if I make you wait, you're my boss. If I make you wait, you're okay with it.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's a certain level of trust.
Yeah.
And with another superior, it's okay. Like if I make them wait as well. Obviously, it depends case by case. If it's like super urgent, like if they need something, right? Like now, and they don't have time to do it later, then you need just you kind of have to sacrifice your productivity, to help them. But it shouldn't happen all the time.
Yeah,
shouldn't happen every day. Shouldn't happen every week.
Yeah,
really. So it depends on the culture. Like for me. And maybe also it's because of like me dealing with clients when I was freelancing.
Yeah.
Like at first I was like super scared to make them wait. I was like, like I told my because
I'll talk to you right now.
Because I used to manage the freelance stuff with my partner, right? When we're doing that freelancing stuff.
Yeah.
And I would like get on her like, why haven't you replied to this email? This is a client. We're gonna lose this client. So I realized you can make your client wait. Like, why not? Because it's not like they're going to read it immediately. It's not like they're going to reply immediately as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you just if you've got some things to do right now, you don't need to do you don't need to reply straight away. And so because of that freelancing experience, that kind of gave me the comfort here in LMSL. I could probably make my superior wait a little bit.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they want me to get whatever I need to get done as well.
Yeah. And if it's urgent, they will make it known.
Yeah,
it's super urgent.
Yeah, so that's another thing about work culture is the communication. Like I think with us, we put a lot of emphasis in communication, right? If you need it urgently, you're gonna say that it's urgent.
Yeah.
On Asana, if it's a high priority, you're gonna put high priority.
Yeah.
Right. Now sometimes people abuse that. People say
everything is priority one.
Yeah, everything is priority one. Everything is high priority. Everything is urgent.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to develop a skill on kind of your meter, on like your BS meter, really.
Yeah.
Is this really urgent?
Yeah. Question everything.
Yeah. Obviously, now if you're if you're not involved in the leadership meetings and you're not across all of the information, sometimes it's easier for you to get fooled, I guess, right?
Sure.
If so, then check with your manager. Is it really urgent?
Yeah.
This person's asking something from me. Is it really that urgent? So that's a tip for me. It's like check with someone that I guess you are closer to or have more trust, and say, is this really urgent?
True.
Because it might not always be.
Yeah, very true. Okay, final questions before we move on to something practical.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about time management, productivity, and mainly time management at work. But as I said, work is such a big part of life. And this question is particularly related to how you maintain a work-life balance and prevent burnout. How do you manage your time at work so that you can have a healthy lifestyle and a balanced lifestyle, and you don't necessarily encounter burnout, or maybe you do, but like you minimize it as much as possible?
Yeah. I think these things are inevitable. Burnout's kind of inevitable. Yeah. If you really care about your work, it's kind of inevitable, right? I don't know.
Unless there's nothing to do.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe
some jobs actually like that. By the way, like some jobs, my friend, like she works for the government, and she's like, I work 30 minutes a day. I was like, what?
Yeah.
What?
I think there are a lot of those jobs, and it's not, I'm not going to say that it's not healthy, but it's also not like, maybe, you're relaxing, but like.
But they have a lot of time to do like professional development. Like if they need to take a course, or,
as long as you're occupied.
Yeah. Like, I mean, the actual work, it's probably like 30 minutes, but they can spend like 7 hours learning something new, and that helps, right?
Yeah.
On network, or, pick up a new project outside of your role and help. Many things can happen, but like sometimes it's the reverse. So it's kind of like if you have a lot of time, you need to find a way to fill it.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if you have a lot of stuff to do and you just don't have the time to yourself, you need to manage that so that you don't burn out, or at least you can still enjoy life.
Yeah. I think what I was getting to is just avoid overcorrecting. Because if you got nothing to do, that's equally worse. Equally bad as burning out. So anyway, the question was
strategies to maintain work-life balance.
So I don't want to sound like I'm super strict with everything, but
no one is.
Yeah. And I'm also, by the way, I'm not, like I said, I'm not perfect. I'm still finding my footing. But I learned to just be pretty strict with my timing. Back then, if someone needs me at 5 o'clock, I am going to have a meeting with them until 6 p.m. And obviously, our workday ends at 5 p.m., right?
Yeah.
So that's overtime. I try not to do that anymore.
That's really good.
If someone else, like a team member who works at a different time zone, more aligned with that person, then I'll get them to talk to that person.
Delegate. Yeah.
So I will give them the information and then just pass it over. And it's kind of risky because sometimes, you kind of play a game of what's that game? Chinese Whisper? Not Chinese Whisper. Is it?
It's not like a game, but like it's something that tends to happen if you don't really hear from the source, I would say.
Yeah. I know there was a game.
Oh, there's
back then,
game.
like you form a line and then you pass the message.
Oh.
And see what that last message is going to be. So the first person is going to give you a message and pass the message like 10 times and see how that message changes.
Yeah.
If it doesn't change, then you win.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of risky. So you need to find someone that you really, really trust.
Yeah.
Or get them to take notes of what you tell them, or you can make those notes yourself and pass it over to another person. So and to that again, just be very strict with your time. So, and also, it's harder to do this one, but really shutting it off. After 5 p.m., you have to shut it off. You can't think about work. If you had a good day at work, it's easy to not think about work. But if you had a stressful day, you've got a lot of deliverables, things change, all these things. It's a little bit harder. So what I do then is I do something after work. So I would, if I had a hard time during work and it's harder for me to like get my mind off of work, I'm going to be like, I'll call my girlfriend and be like, let's get dinner.
Let's go out.
Let's go out. Let's get drinks.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't matter which day it is. It could be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah. Doesn't matter.
Just go out. I know a lot of people like would rather just sit on the couch, watch Netflix because it's reasonable. You're drained out.
Yeah.
You want to sit on the couch and chill.
Yeah.
You want to go to bed.
Yeah.
For me, it is sort of counterproductive because you're just sitting there and left thinking about work.
Yeah. It doesn't help because especially if you're working remotely.
Yeah.
Your environment matters, right?
Yeah.
If you're in the same environment you're doing your stressful work in, and you're still sitting there or in the same space, but just like in a different corner.
Especially if you're autonomous.
Your energy is going to be the same.
Yeah.
Not going to help.
Yeah. And for me as well, it's not just a time management thing. I think it's a question of your mind as well. Because your mind plays a big part. If your mind is at, working, like on your job, then you're never really going to have work-life balance. You could be doing things with someone, but if your mind is elsewhere, that's not really work-life balance. You're still at work, really.
Yeah.
So that's what I do is keep my mind occupied.
Yep.
And that's also a way to prevent burnout. If you have a really so to me, like I'll go deeper into that whole thing with like doing something. For me, preventing burnout, if I feel like I've been having very stressful days, it's been happening the last few weeks.
Tell me about it.
And I just feel like, I'm a bit like a robot just doing whatever task I can. What I would do after work is really push myself to keep myself occupied. So one thing I would do is play basketball, right? And I think you can do this with any form of exercise. I know if you had a hard day, tiring day, mentally, physically, whatever, you'd rather just stay home, sit on the couch, eat, order something even,
Especially when it's cold.
I think
like
I think that's just kind of like digging yourself in a hole.
Yeah.
Like you get deeper and deeper into that hole because
that was me last year.
It's gonna make you lazier, right? And you might not be a lazy person, right? So I would do is exercise. So my form of exercise that I really like is basketball. I don't really like going to the gym. I go to the gym sometimes. I don't really like doing that because to me, when I go to the gym after a long, hard day of work, I'm like there lifting weights, thinking about work. because it's kind of like it's to me it's mostly physical. Obviously there's the mental side of it, of like pushing yourself, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't really get your mind thinking. It's not it's more like pushing yourself, right?
Yeah.
It's like resilience in terms of like physically pushing yourself by mentally pushing yourself.
Yeah.
But it doesn't keep your mind occupied in a way that like something like basketball would, because when I play basketball, you play with other people and you're constantly thinking, okay, what move am I going to do next?
Yeah.
Am I going to pass? Am I going to score? Who do I pass to? And if I want to score, how should I score? What move do I do?
Yeah.
So I'm always thinking.
Yeah.
And my mind's always engaged.
A flow state.
Yeah.
Another flow state, but and good for you.
Yeah. And with gym, and I know some people are going to disagree because some people really love going to the gym. I know you've been going to the gym.
But I don't lift weights.
You don't lift weights?
I do Pilates.
Oh, you do Pilates.
So I do classes.
Yeah.
The classes really, like keep you busy because the instructor is going to tell you to do this and that, and you cannot stop. Because the thing about lifting weight is like, I can just stop if I'm bored.
Exactly.
Pilates, I cannot stop. I have to keep going.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, that's why I don't really like lifting weights. It's because your mind is kind of left to wander.
Exactly.
Too much. And that's not what you want when you're having a hard time. That's not what you want, because you want your mind to go elsewhere, to a better place.
Yeah, thinking about different things, but like fun stuff, not like stressful stuff.
Yeah, so I guess do what you enjoy.
Exactly. You got to know what you want to do, what you like.
But if it's an exercise, even better, because it's scientifically proven that exercise will release all these neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin. Is that correct? Yeah, those kind of things. Now, I don't really know what that means, but it makes sense. It sounds like a good thing.
I don't really know what that means.
I do know what they are.
But it makes sense.
I don't have deep knowledge in those things, but
I don't have deep knowledge either, even though I host the Happiness and Wellbeing podcast and the guests talk about these chemicals all the time. But yeah, it takes a lot of practice to remember and to know. Yeah. But I do know that dopamine and serotonin are really good for you.
Yeah, so exercise, and if it's a form of exercise that you love, that's even better. Otherwise, just do whatever that you love. If you don't have anything, go find something.
Yeah.
You have to do something.
Actually, keep your mind occupied with getting to know yourself is actually really good. Like, what do I enjoy? Like, how did you know you liked basketball?
That's the first step, yeah.
Yeah. How did you find out that you liked basketball?
Oh, I don't know. It was on the TV all the time when I was a kid.
Well, actually, you know what? Then that gets me to think. The people that you were saying were on their couch watching Netflix. Maybe they watched something that sparks joy. Yeah. And they're like, I want to try whatever that person's doing. Yeah. Could be like a documentary about basketball and they like, when they want to try that. I mean, if you watch a documentary about F1, you're not going to be able to try that. But you can, like get into, I don't know, researching F1 more. Yeah.
Now, I know there are people whose hobbies are watching TV and playing video games and watching a movie. Yeah. I love those things too. Those are my hobbies too.
Yeah, same.
But there are levels to it, right?
Yeah, not too extreme.
Just like habits, there are good habits and bad habits. Yeah. Now with hobbies, they're not really good bad hobbies unless, it's something that your hobby is hurting someone. Then that's not good. But the levels are what are productive hobbies and what are engaging hobbies and what are not. No, people can say, I'm engaged in my movie, but you're not really doing anything, are you? You're just sitting there.
Yeah. Sometimes people watch movies while being on their phone as well. So.
Yeah. So I think take up a hobby that allows you to do something.
Get into the flow state, actually. I think this is what I learned from the Happiness podcast, Sarah Boost. Like, find a hobby that would bring you the flow state. I think this is one from one of the earliest episodes.
That's a good point, because like when I play basketball, sometimes it doesn't happen all the time, but I'm gonna say most of the time maybe. I just get into a state where I don't even know what the hell I'm doing, but I'm doing I'm playing well. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just playing well. Like I don't think about the next move anymore. It becomes maybe it's just muscle memory.
Yeah.
But sometimes I just play so well that what happened? It's like Shazam.
Out of body's experience.
Yeah, it's like Shazam. It's like, whoa, I'm Kobe Bryant. And then I'm back to Jerry.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, good point.
Maybe it's that. Yeah. Never really thought of it.
Yeah.
Thought of it that way, but
yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah, that's what I would recommend. Just do something that you love. I know it's hard to push yourself to go out and do something when you're super tired and super stressed out and maybe you're burnt out. But you're
talking to me, huh?
Stepping out is the hardest part.
Yeah.
Because once you're out, you're out.
Yeah.
Once you're out, you know that you're gonna do something already.
Yeah.
And if it's something that you enjoy, it's easy to forget that you're tired. It's easy to forget that you're hungry. Like for me, when I'm tired, hungry, I play basketball, I forget about it. I'm just in the zone.
Nice.
So yeah.
Really good. Okay. I mean, that's really practical already. But in our practice debrief, we normally talk about the practice that's related to the topic. So let's bring it back to optimizing your workday. You mentioned a bunch of things earlier, like blocking distractions, time boxing, not responding to messages until you're done with your task, getting into the flow state, all that sort of stuff. What would be one more thing that you haven't mentioned that's super practical, that is a practice that you do to optimize your time at work or to optimize your workday using time management?
I don't have like a super like work-centric thing. It's more really about well-being or like just managing yourself.
Yeah.
Is I found the perfect amount of sleep for me.
Oh.
So
okay.
Obviously we know that 7 to 8 or 9 hours is the optimal amount of time to sleep. I found that 7 hours is the optimum amount of sleep for me. If I have any more, I feel like crap. I feel like I just want to sleep all day.
Yeah.
If I have less, it's actually not as bad as having more. I know if sleep is important and everyone says like you need sleep, as much sleep as you can, but I feel like, and I think there are studies that back this up. If you have too much sleep, all your body wants to do is sleep.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of stuck there or something. I know there's like a better way to put this, but that's the way I understand it. If you sleep more, your body kind of gets stuck there. And if you sleep less, you're productive until your energy gets drained.
Yeah.
At least there's some productivity in there if you sleep less. But if I sleep 7 hours, I am just go. Like I obviously I still have my coffee, and I know the perfect time for me to have coffee. Every
day.
Most people would have coffee around 9 a.m., 10 a.m. ish, right? That's kind of like their first break, or they go to work with a coffee in hand. I don't do that. I have my coffee during lunchtime because in the morning I feel fine. It's during lunchtime, during that lunch crash, when like food coma. Sometimes you get into food coma. Sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
So I have my coffee then.
Yeah.
Because it helps bring me back up.
Yeah.
And I think there are studies where they tell you that having your coffee around midday is better than having it like first thing in the morning. So those are things, some strategies.
Yeah.
They're not super work related because you can apply them to life. But I practice those things to improve my work productivity and time management with the sleeping thing.
Yeah.
So like I'll sleep at 12, I'll wake up at 7. If I plan to wake up at 8, I'll sleep at 1 a.m. Or I'll just sleep at 12, wake up at 7, do some random things in the morning.
Wow.
But yeah, that's how I schedule my sleep. It's always 7 hours.
Yeah.
If I get more, it's just I feel like crap. Sometimes I do sleep in, right?
Yeah.
Like weekends.
Yeah.
When you've got a partner, it's a little bit harder to follow this thing because, you kind of want to sleep in together, stuff like that. Or I don't know. She doesn't want to stay up too late.
Yeah.
So
Gotta adjust.
yeah, but you do your best. Like during my work week, I will sleep 7 hours every single day.
Yeah. Good one.
Yeah.
I think it's super cool because, again, productivity about life. Work is a part of life. And it's not like you just manage your time at work and then your life is not managed at all. Because if you're not managing your life, then your work will be affected.
Yeah.
Especially when you talk about sleep, right? If you don't sleep enough, it doesn't matter how you prioritize your task.
Yeah.
Because you're just tired.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's super cool. I love it. So you already mentioned the challenges, actually, because you gotta adjust your schedule if you have a partner.
Yeah.
Like you might have days where you feel like you need a bit more sleep, things like that. But what are some of the good things about this, like sleeping enough? And obviously you have enough energy. What are some other things that you think would be really good for people to know, for you personally?
Well, the good thing about that is you can schedule your things throughout the week more accurately, or you have a clear window of the timings that you can do certain activities. Because sometimes if you if you're not so strict with yourself of like sleeping at 12 and waking up at 7 or anything similar to that, it's like whatever you do today could get in the way of what you do the next day.
Totally.
So that's a good thing about that. Now with the coffee thing, I don't know if there's more good things about that one.
It makes you happy.
It makes me
Coffee
happy.
makes you happy.
Also, if you are if you have a schedule down, like a certain routine down, it really makes things easier every day because there are less adjustments, less changes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Very
it's
true.
kind of like when you've been doing the same kind of work for 10 years, you kind of know what you're going to do every day.
Yeah.
It's just like you don't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that it gives me more time to do other things and think about other things.
Yeah. So, final question, lucky last, is obviously, as you said, sleep and coffee at the right time really improves your productivity and sort of like helps to keep you going.
Yeah.
But how does that help with your perception in life overall?
Oh, I think it's actually kind of improved the way I look at my body and look at life.
Yeah.
Also, at first when I started doing this, I was very strict with myself. I was like, it's almost like a do or die kind of thing.
Oh.
You do this or you're not gonna, you're gonna fail.
Okay.
So finding out that there are times when you can't do these things, and even with like fasting and stuff like that. Like, so I do intermittent fasting. I'm not perfect. I don't always eat at 12 and then stop eating at 8.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you have, night with some friends, you're going to grab some drinks.
Yeah, it's going to be later.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
And you can't close yourself off and say, no, I'm doing this thing where I can't eat or drink after 8.
Yeah.
Then you're just not enjoying life.
Yeah.
So I think it made me appreciate life a little bit more, because when I lost touch, I was like, oh, I need to do some things. I need to adjust so that I can enjoy life.
Yeah.
So
True.
that's kind of how it affected my perception. You can't be perfect. No one's perfect, really.
Yeah.
Even with the sleep thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes I enjoy having more than 7 hours of sleep. If not, I would be asleep for 7 hours and I'll just be in bed for another hour.
Yeah.
Just doing nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I like that. Like, sleep-wise is a very interesting thing because it makes you, like, it makes or breaks your day. That's what I've noticed. Like, sometimes, I don't know, like, I just wake up happy.
Yeah.
Because I had, like, the perfect amount of sleep. I still don't know how much it is yet. I'm still figuring it out. But sometimes I wake up before my alarm and I'm tired.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I wake up when the alarm hits and I'm sad.
Sometimes I wake up before the alarm
Yeah.
and I feel better.
Yeah, that too. Like, sometimes you can
Right?
wake up before the
Yeah.
alarm and you're like, I'm fresh today.
Yeah.
But sometimes you're like, I didn't, like, yesterday I didn't sleep well. I didn't go into deep sleep, I think. Like, I felt like I was half awake the whole night. So I woke up before my alarm, but I was like so tired. The last thing I wanted to do was to move. But, it's non-negotiable. I got to get out of bed, got to go to Pilates.
Yeah.
I did that. But, it's true. Like, if you really manage your sleep well and you're also nice to yourself,
Yeah.
your whole life will be so much better. Like, quality of life overall. So,
I think that's like a whole like misconception with all these habits and like personal improvement stuff.
Yeah.
It's like when people first discover these things,
Yeah.
like they're gonna do it to the T. Like then they stay within that line.
Yeah.
They don't go out of that path.
Mm-hmm.
But very soon you realize that this is impossible.
Yeah.
Like there are variables in life and you need to do a variety of things every single day.
Yeah.
So you need to give some room. So like with me, the whole 12 o'clock to 7 a.m. is because so that I have some buffer time until 8 o'clock. Because 8 o'clock is when I really need to get ready.
Yeah.
Right? That's when I need to take a shower, need to get ready.
Mm-hmm.
So 7 o'clock, that 1 hour gives me some time to myself.
Yeah.
And also so my alarm is set for 8 a.m. But my body has been waking up at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Miraculously happened. Like
You're getting older.
A few months ago, it just miraculously happened. Suddenly, I wake up 7 a.m. all the time. 7:05, 7:10, 6:55, that time range.
Yeah.
And then if I'm like super tired and I don't wake up at 7 a.m., the alarm is there too to back up. Because I found that it's also not good for you to wake up to an alarm. It's better to wake up
Naturally.
Yeah.
That's really good. Okay, so we've covered all the questions. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
Really good practice. Now I have to figure out how many hours I need for sleep. I don't know. That's a good point. We normally have open mic. Anything you're passionate about? Anything comes to mind?
I think just be kind to one another.
Aww.
I think we're in a state of the world where everyone's just divided.
How so?
I mean, I don't want to get into it super deeply, but you can look at politics. There's two sides.
I don't know anything about politics.
That's fine. I know.
Don't care for it.
You tell me. You tell everyone that
I
you
tell
don't
everyone
care.
that I don't care about politics.
That's kind of good though, because it's not a very good space to put your
It
mind
drains
in.
me so much. Like
It's draining.
I just cannot. Like I understand what's going on, like vaguely sometimes when people talk about it or like friends bring it up. But I just cannot get into it.
Yeah, I think in Melbourne we're more exposed to these conflicts happening, especially if you live in the CBD. Yeah. There's a protest at the library every Sunday.
Yeah.
Every Saturday.
The other day I couldn't get onto my tram because of a protest. I honestly still don't know what it was about.
Yeah. And that's another thing. Like the protest, it's like if you're gonna annoy people, they're not gonna be on your side.
Yeah. So,
but that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm just saying, be kind to one another because the world is in a state where everyone's kind of divided. Whether it's kind of like there are tribes. There are tribes. If you're not on my tribe, then you're against me, kind of thing. Like why can't and each tribe thinks they're correct, right?
Yeah.
And it's very human, but also, why can't you guys be both correct?
Yeah, we can all be right.
Yeah. Because if you think about it, there's not like a majority side. It's more or less 50-50. So if you think about it, 50% of the world's wrong. Nah, I don't think so. I think it's more like 50% of the world's got a different perspective on things.
Yeah.
You probably want the same things.
Yeah.
But you have a different way to go about it or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think be kind to one another and just understand people. I think there's a culture cultural shift where we don't really try and understand each other anymore. Especially with like societal problems, and there are a lot of societal problems, and
Very deep.
I've become more aware because of like all the protests in Melbourne, and also the internet is flooded with all these types of content. So I think try to understand each other, because if you don't give the other side a chance and listen to them, then how do you know that you disagree?
Yeah, very true.
So that's it. I think the world's kind of chaotic at the moment.
Yeah.
So
look, I don't really get into that side of the world, so
yeah,
it's just an internal chaos for me. But that's really good to know.
But I think you're kind to everyone.
I
don't. You're not like.
Thanks.
You don't have any kind of like prejudice. You don't have any kind of predetermined
notion
opinions on anyone. I think you're quite neutral, which is good. I think because like you you always try to understand. Are you saying people.
I don't have an opinion?
No, I think you do have an opinion. Obviously,
okay.
I think you know how you feel about certain things, but you're open to understand other people's point of view, and that's what kind of like what people are lacking. It's just they don't give enough time for understanding other people's views.
Yeah, thanks.
So that's my open mic.
Yeah, thanks for the TED Talk. That's amazing. No, I really love it because I think kindness goes a long way. And remember, we had this episode on Sarah Boost, I think, about kindness.
Which one is that?
With Hugh McKay.
Right.
The revolution of kindness.
He was so good. He was so patient.
Yeah, he's amazing. It's just like an amazing conversation. And I love how it can be one little word that has so much encapsulated into it.
Yeah, it's the language, right? It like your words can. Sorry, your words.
That's what you tell us not to.
I realize now it's kind of hard because
I know. Yeah. Now you know.
No, it's language plays a big part. Like paying attention to the words that you use.
Yeah.
Although it might seem like like something that's kind of laughable. Like there are different words for the same meaning.
Yeah.
Those different words have different ways of like people perceive those words as different.
Yeah.
Like different impact. Yeah. And I think with Hugh, I think it's an old people thing. Because if you've been alive for 80 years, you're going to know a thing or two about the world. So, and yeah, I think, young people, we all need to be a little bit more understanding.
Yeah. Listen before.
Yeah. I think, our generation, is kind of lucky because we grew up without the internet.
Yeah, I know. I love it.
We spent our formative years with the internet, but it wasn't this internet.
Yeah, it wasn't.
The internet when I was in high school, it wasn't this.
No, I didn't even get access to the internet until I was in high school.
Yeah, dial-up, like the phone thing.
Yeah. I called my friend.
There's no Wi-Fi.
Like middle school, like every single day I would call someone and talk to them and actually have a conversation.
Yeah.
There's no texting.
Yeah.
No social media. Like no like, oh, I love your story.
Yeah.
You have a great life. No.
Yeah, it's not because you didn't have like an overload of like information.
Exactly.
So I think it's that. Like obviously if you have so much information coming to you, you're more likely to get outraged or be upset at something.
Yeah.
So I think we need to dial it back down.
And also go inwards, right? Because that's exactly what you're saying. Because you overloaded with information. You're processing all the external information. You don't even know what's going on here.
Yeah.
And then maybe you're taking your anger out on somebody else.
Yeah.
That happens.
Yeah. Like what I do, I stopped using social media.
Oh, really?
Back then I used everything.
Really?
Well, I use social media to like keep up with my friends. I only have Instagram and Facebook. Facebook to keep up with my family. Because I use Instagram.
Yeah, family's always on Facebook.
And Instagram to keep up with my friends.
Yeah.
I don't really post anything. If I post something, it's more like, I did a project. So I'm going to post it there to kind of promote it. It's kind of like for business use, I guess.
Yeah.
But to keep up with people, I just look at their stories and I look at their posts to see what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't post much.
Yeah. It's really good. Actually, I quit Instagram for 2 weeks and it was amazing. But then I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I need to get back into it because, still got to keep up with
Yeah.
like people. Like sometimes work people message me on Instagram and they're like, Lu, are you free to do an interview on this day? I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I'll respond.
Yeah,
But,
I used to like always be on Instagram, like maybe 5 years ago, where it was like a huge thing.
Oh yeah, me too. I was actually I had this big problem. I don't know if you did. I had this big problem 5 years ago. I was in bed scrolling for hours.
Yeah.
That happened.
Yeah, it's happening with TikTok now.
Really? I don't have TikToks. I don't know.
I watch TikTok through YouTube Shorts.
Yeah, I used to do that. Now I don't even watch YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, I had that problem too. And another big problem is like you're trying to get as many followers as you can. So you like, I mean, at least for me,
I wouldn't know about that.
As someone who was like aspiring to be a content creator and filmmaker and all those things, I was trying to get as many followers as I can. So I was like, I had schedules for my post. And then when I stopped doing that, I was like, I feel better. It's like, because back then I would like go crazy if I couldn't post at 7 p.m. on Thursday and Tuesday. Yeah.
Wow.
Because I'm like, well, I'm losing this opportunity to reach people.
That is crazy.
Yeah. And then when I stopped doing it, I was like,
you're free.
Yeah, this is nice.
Yeah, you're free now, Jerry.
Yeah. And I'm still getting clients.
Yeah.
I don't really have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And I think a lot of people, it might not be business. Maybe it's kind of keep up, make sure that everyone knows that I'm still cool.
If you're not posting, you're irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I
So,
didn't post anything for like weeks, and then that was so freeing. But then one of the cute things that my cousin did, he was kind of like, "Are you social detoxing or are you not okay?" Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, how is that normal to post so much?
Yeah. It's not like I post a lot, but like when you disappear,
Yeah.
all of a sudden people are like, "Are you okay?" But then
someone told me this.
No, but then it's actually okay because I have a life outside of social media. My life is still happening.
I'm doing better.
Yeah, I'm doing better.
Yeah.
But then people are like concerned, and that was so cute to me. That people were concerned that I'm not okay for not using social media. I'm like, I'm great.
Yeah,
I feel better.
Yeah, and so someone told me about this 4 months ago.
Yeah.
When I started posting on Instagram, just Instagram stories. I don't do Instagram posting. I think my last post was like 2 years ago. Instagram stories, and someone was like, "Oh, you're back." I was like,
I was never gone.
What do you mean I'm back? It's like, "Oh, I don't see you on Instagram much." I'm like, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was never really gone. So yeah, that kind of thing. And I guess that contributes to my productivity as well. I don't have those blockers.
Yes.
I don't feel like I need to scroll Instagram.
Oh,
if
I
I'm,
love that.
When I'm waiting for an export, like, when I'm exporting videos.
Yes.
When, basically my computer is,
rendering,
where it's in a cannot be used moment, I don't do anything. I stand up, look out the window.
I love that.
And just like look for a UFO or something. Like I don't go on Instagram. Sometimes mainly I use Instagram is because my partner will like send me stuff. Or my best friend will send me stuff.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
I don't willingly go on Instagram and scroll around.
Yeah.
Like my girlfriend, like yesterday she was like, "You haven't liked my post yet." I'm like, I don't use Instagram. That's why. It's to that extent.
It's a good thing though.
Yeah,
it's a really good thing. Yeah.
I think it really did affect my productivity. I'm much more productive when I don't have these blockers, because it's easy to just dig yourself in a rabbit hole with those things.
Yeah.
Because they're so entertaining.
Yeah.
They're so entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a really good chat. Like, I feel like we could go on all day. See?
Yeah.
You said we didn't have anything to talk about. So much to talk about, and so much on productivity.
It's weird because we wouldn't talk about these things if we weren't like
doing the
this.
podcast.
Yeah.
We do talk about things like
we do.
randomly.
I don't want to make it seem like Lu and I don't get along or anything. We do talk a lot, but we don't dive
into topic deeply. Yeah, because we don't really have that luxury of like, oh, let's like sit down, have a coffee and talk about something really deep, you know?
Yeah.
Because most of the time, like lunch break, you have other people around, or like you really just trying to rest and like not do anything. So
I feel bad as well. If I like continue the conversation, I feel Blue's probably got things to do.
Yeah, I know. It's really hard. So this is a really nice opportunity, right?
Yeah.
See, aren't you glad you joined the show? I'm so glad you joined.
I'm being held against my own will.
No, he's not.
I do not want to be here. They're not even giving me a day off for this. I think they should.
Well, you get 1 day off a month anyway if you do overtime. So
I do.
Enjoy that. Enjoy it. It's like for productive rest.
Yeah.
On the topic of productivity.
Yeah.
Anyways, thanks for being here.
No worries.
It's been really fun, and I'm having fun hosting this show. I might come back.
It was a good conversation.
But yeah, we'll have a new host very soon, so that's exciting.
Jojo
will join soon, and you'll see her very soon. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and see you in the next one.
You have been listening to Work in Progress, the Personal Productivity Science Insights podcast produced by the Life Management Science Labs. Listen to episodes from LMSL's 10 Life Management Perspectives on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or other podcasting apps on your smartphone. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider rating our show, sharing it, and subscribing to our channel, as it helps others find us and us grow to bring you more quality resources. More of our work can be found on our website at pp.lmsl.net, where you can join our movement. I'm Tia Harmer. Thanks for tuning in.